Hey guys, what's up, it's iFlynn here, and welcome to episode 14 of Warframe Beginner's Guide 2.0, and in this video, we're going to be going into the Oregon Derelict to go and find some vaults to get ourselves better mods. Now in the last video, I mentioned that I was going to be showing you guys how to mod your Galatine, and I'm also going to be explaining how you can get Oregon Catalysts and Oregon Reactors for free every 2 weeks. Now every 2 weeks on a Friday, the developers of the game hold something known as a dev stream, around 7 o'clock, and I forget the actual time zone that it is, but around 7 o'clock in a certain time zone. I'm thinking it's in Canada, because that's where, the developers are there to develop the game, so, at that time, there's going to be an alert that comes up in the game. Every 2 Fridays, there's going to be an alert that comes up at the front of the ship, and it's going to be an Oregon Catalyst blueprint or an Oregon Reactor blueprint. You'll then get that blueprint, it'll be placed in your foundry, and you can build your Oregon Reactor or Oregon Catalyst. And Oregon Reactors and Oregon Catalysts, if you don't already know, are used to double your mod capacity of your weapon or Warframe. So the Catalyst is for your weapons, and Reactors are for your Warframe, and they stay on permanently. So whenever you get to level 2, your capacity will be level 4, then whenever you get to level 5, your capacity will be 10, things like that there. So what I'm going to be showing you guys today is how to mod out your Galatine for this place that we're going into. Because I said I would show in the last video, but I didn't have the mods maxed out. So if you go into your upgrade screen, you'll see, your basic modding section, all of this good stuff over here. We take this all off. Now you see I only have 30 mod capacity up in the top left. If we hit the actions tab down at the bottom of the screen, or press the button that it is, we're able to upgrade this weapon with a Oregon Catalyst. So we put this Oregon Catalyst on, and then that doubles my mod capacity up to 60. So from that, I can now put a lot more mods on. Now, the base mods for whenever you're modding a melee weapon are Fury and Pressure Point, because that's going to let you deal a lot more damage. Fury is going to speed up your attacks, so you're dealing a lot more damage in a shorter space of time. And then you have to think about the elements. So in the Oregon Derelict, we're going to be going up against the Infested faction, and the Infested faction are weak to these 2 base elements. So we have Corrosive for the ancient enemies, and then we have Fire for the Charger units, so the smaller enemies. So we're going to be using these mods here. So this is going to be Fever Strike and Shocking Touch. Okay, and then that's going to give us our corrosive damage because we put these 2 mods together. I'll have a video on this in an advanced guide later on. Fever Strike and Shocking Touch will give you your corrosive damage, so just put them in the prospective mod spots that I'm showing you here. Copy this exact thing, Fever Strike and Shocking Touch, and then you put on your maxed out Molten Impact, and that's going to give you heat and corrosive damage. Now if we go off our modding section, you can now actually see that my sword's on fire and things like that there. And you're also going to have room to put on more mods after that, so you can really put on anything you want. But do not put on Northwind beside Molten Impact, as that will make blast damage. And sometimes you could keep this on, because then it gives you some crowd control for the enemies. But you're going to be losing out in some base damage, so I recommend keeping it off. You can put on anything else that isn't, say, Northwind, or anything that gives you any type of other elemental damage. So you can put on Smite Infested if you have it, or anything like that. Maybe Melee Pyrus for more status chance, Oregon Shatter for crit damage. I'm actually going to put that on, True Steel, things like that there. Just anything on that'll pretty much just increase your damage. So that's what my Galatine is going to be like. So the main mods that you're looking for here is Fury, Pressure Point, Fever Strike, Shocking Touch put together, and then Molten Impact, and then you should be good to go. These 3 mods you don't have to worry about. So once you have that there done, you want to organize a group of 4 players. I actually have 4 different clan members: Stop Hating Homie, Rubotroll, 321, and the zombie guy. They're actually going to be joining me in this mission, so they work in there like they exterminate. So let's see what we're going to be doing. In the last video, I told you guys to buy these different keys: Bleeding Dragon Key, Decaying Dragon Key, Extinguished Dragon Key, things like that, and the Hobbled, all that good stuff. Once you have those built, they're actually going to be appearing in your gear section. So you go back to your arsenal, go down to gear, and then you're going to be able to equip one of these. Now if we pause the game and go up to my friend's different little tabs up here so we can view the profile, we can see that Stop Hating Homie actually he hasn't got a key on yet. Oh wait, he does. He has the Bleeding Dragon Key, it's under his Warframe. Robotroll has the Extinguished, and the zombie guy has Decaying. Now these keys have debuffs to them, and the reason that they have debuffs to them is to make the Oregon Derelict a little bit harder. So that's why I'm telling you to put on specific mods for this mission. Now, if you go back up to your Excalibur, you want to be putting on your Vitality mod so you have more health. You can always throw on your Steel Fiber mods and Redirection, everything out there, but focus on keeping Vitality on. And also, if you have this mod known as Intensify, even if you haven't ranked it up, I recommend putting it on. And anything else that's going to pretty much increase your survivability, so more armor, more shields, any good stuff like that there will be useful in the Orokin Derelict. So that's all I recommend having on. I need to put flow on also, and all that good stuff. So we have flow on, so then we can stay in the Orokin Derelict longer, and if you have streamline, go ahead and throw that there on as well, because that's what we're going to be using. Now, the reason that we're using this Galatine weapon and nothing else, we can actually go ahead and throw something else on as well. Won't hurt at all. The reason that we're using the Galatine over everything else is because Excalibur's Exalted Blade ability will actually take the mods that we have on our melee weapon into consideration whenever we're actually going through of it. So we're going to hop into the Orokin Derelict. Now, make sure you have one of each of the different dragon keys on, so the Hobble, the Bleeding, Extinguish, and Decay, and make sure all 4 different players have a different key on, and then you're going to head into this mission, and then you're going to be finding a vault. Okay, so this is the Orokin Derelict, and you see I'm actually really darn slow. I'm just going to stop hitting homie here, because I actually have my sound turned down, so I have no idea if he's actually making any noise or not. So you'll see that all these different keys have different debuffs to them. The Hobble key just makes me a lot slower, so that's why I have that there on. The Bleeding key is going to give you less health. Extinguish key is going to, I think it makes your shields worse, and Decaying key makes it, no, Decaying makes your shield worse, and Extinguish makes it so that your abilities do less damage. So it's up to you which key you want to run. You also have to sort that out with your grip. Now, the Hobble key really doesn't mean too much because you have your jumping ability, so you can just kind of jump around. But in this type of mission, it's easy for you to die because the enemies do a lot of damage. They're pretty high level, and it's easy for you to not be able to do a lot of damage. It is an exterminate mission, but the main objective isn't to kill everything. Obviously, you can kill everything, but we're actually looking for something different within this mission, and it's known as a vault. Now, throughout this mission, it's going to be a random tile set, meaning it can spawn anywhere, and it's going to be a vault that will take a certain type of key. Now, I want to be able to stick with my grip to see if I can get the footage of my team actually opening it, which they have already found it because of the waypoint. This is the vault over here, if we can get to it fast. I hope it's down here. I have no idea what's happening right now. Maybe they're just waypointing because the syndicates are spawning. Nope, here's the vault. This is the vault over here. And it's going to have a symbol on the door. And that's going to signify what key it is that needs to be opened. So if we were to go up to it. Okay, Robotroll had the right key. So that was his Decaying key. If you go up to it, I'll tell you what to put in. And then Robo is going to pick up this little shiny ball thing right here. If he's going to do it. Pick up the ball. And then that's going to also apply another debuff to him. So if I were to pick up that shiny ball, I would have 2 debuffs on. But because he put his key in the door, the debuff that the key had on him is going to be taken off. And then he's just going to get that debuff back whenever he picks up the orb or gets someone else's debuff. Something like that there. What I recommend doing is actually killing all of the enemies before you open the vault, because if you don't kill all the enemies, what's going to happen is it's going to spawn in all the enemies from the void, such as the corrupted heavy gunners, corrupted lancers, things like that there, instead of the infested. Now, I mentioned that you should mod your Galatine in a certain way so you're going to be able to do damage. Notice that person's Cobra was already ranked down. That's because the new heavy gunners and other types of enemies have already spawned in, but you're still going to be doing a lot of damage either way with this setup. So if we can get over there. Okay, everyone's dying for like no reason. We go on to Exalted Blade, it just takes up all the different mods that we have on our Galatine. So we're attacking with it rather fast. See if we can get over here. And we're going to be dealing a lot of damage. See, 2000 damage, things like that there. We're dealing a lot of damage, so we can hold our own in this type of mission without, having to get someone else to kill all the enemies for us, which is pretty good. Like, especially for the level that you're at, if you're following these beginner guides, you're going to be able to deal in a lot more damage than you really should be. So it's all thanks to Exalted Blade. Pretty sure there's an enemy somewhere around here. You can also just use the Galatine to attack as well, but I wouldn't recommend it because you have to get up close. And even at that, you don't do that much damage either. What you could do is stun the enemies and do the finishers, like that, and then that works as well. So whenever we get to the end of the mission, there's going to be a mod that appears at the end on the reward screen. Once we kill all the enemies. So you have to open the vault, or you can kill all the enemies and then open the vault and pick up the thing and just go to the exit, or you can open the vault halfway through and then have to deal with all the corrupted or Orokin enemies rather than the infested. But either way, if you mod the Galatine, just as I did, with those elemental mods and the damage mod, such as Fury, Pressure Point, all that stuff, then you should be fine. So you'll see whenever we exit this mission, we're actually going to get a mod known as a Corrupted mod. We got it. Got it. And then we're going to get Overextended, which is actually a really good mod for our first run at this. So it's going to be a random mod every time, and I'm probably going to put up on the screen all the different useful mods that you can get from the vault or that work in Derelict Exterminate. So in Warframe at the minute, there's currently 23 different types of corrupted mods, and in this video I'm going to be showing you the important corrupted mods that you can get from the Orokin Derelict Exterminate whenever you find the vault. So keep in mind you can only get one mod at a time from the vaults per run, and the mod is actually random, so you have a 1 in 23 chance to get the mod that you want. In this video I'm going to be showing the different mods that are of like high importance, the mods that you should be going for whenever you go into the Orokin Derelict Exterminate, and I'm also going to be explaining why these mods are good and why you should have them and have them at all times, and why you might even need multiple types of this certain mod. So the first corrupted mod that you want to be going for is Heavy Caliber. This mod actually gives you a plus 165% more damage for a loss of 55% accuracy, which you really do not notice too much depending on the type of weapon you're using. I am a really big fond user of a weapon known as the Soma Prime, which has 200 bullets in one magazine, and most of my bullets always hit, and even at that, even if only one of my bullets hit, I'm still going to be dealing a lot of damage because I'm pairing this mod with my Suretion mod on my rifles. So I use this mod on all of my rifle builds regardless, and it's definitely a must-have mod. Next up we have Spoiled Strike. This is a plus 100% damage for minus 20% attack speed on your melee weapons. It's a mod that you can put on like any melee weapon, but it really depends on the type of melee weapon that it is. For example, it might not be good on a heavy melee weapon, but it will be good on such as like the Jill Zoran, because they attack rather quickly. You're going to have to compensate for the loss of the 20% attack speed in some way by putting on a Fury mod or the Berserker mod, so you get more attack speed whenever you do a critical hit. So if you can try to compensate for the loss of the attack speed in some way, Spoiled Strike is definitely a must-have mod on your melee weapon. Next up we have Blind Reg. This actually gives you plus 99% Power Strength for minus 55 Power Efficiency. Power Strength is the amount of damage that your Warframe ability will do. This mod is used on Warframes such as Mag or Nova or Saren, things like that. They're just these Warframes that use Power Strength to deal a huge number of damage, and this mod is a must-have. You have to have this if you want to be going into late game content such as high runs and void missions such as like 60 waves and a T4 defense or anything like that. It's just a must-have mod. The minus 55% power efficiency basically means it's going to take more energy to cast one power, so you're giving up the efficiency of being able to spam an ability for being able to hit an ability once and for it to deal a lot of damage. But again, you can make up for that with other mods. Next up we have a mod known as Fleeting Expertise, another mod that I use on all of my builds. It gives you more power efficiency for minus power duration. So this can be used to combat the power efficiency that you lose on Blind Reg. So you put your Fleeting Expertise on and you're just going to be able to spam abilities over and over again. Very useful in a frame such as Loki, who's used for crowd control, where you can just keep on spamming your radial disarm so the enemies have no guns. But then again, it does minus that 60% power duration, but can be made up for with other mods, if you see where I'm going with this. Next up we have Narrow Minded, which gives you plus 99% power duration for minus 66% power range. Again, this mod counters the power duration that you lose from fleeting expertise. So as long as you get all of these mods, you're pretty much going to be able to run a really good build on all of your frames, because you get these different mods that counteract the other mods. So more power duration means that you're going to be able to stay invisible longer for Loki, or you're going to be able to make a larger M prime with Nova prime. I know some of this stuff may mean nothing to you at the minute, but these are just examples that I'm throwing at you for, you know, like future reference whenever you do actually get these different frames and you try them out for yourself. If you just keep these like frame names in mind, then, you know, you'll do well. Next up we have Overextended. This is the mod that we actually got in the game. It pretty much just gives us more range for less strength, so we're able to throw our abilities out further for, you know, just doing less damage with it really. So this would be useful on a Warframe such as Mag, where you can put more range on your shield polarized and then make up for the power strength that you lose with the blind reg. You don't really have to use this mod. It depends on the type of mission that you're playing, but it's still a very good mod to have because it can help you out in the crowd control situations. For Loki Prime, you put more range in the radial disarm, things like that. So these mods can be used to just enhance the certain abilities or certain aspects of a frame. Last but not least, we have Transient Fortitude, probably one of my favorite mods, simply because I use it on a lot of frames which, you know, duration doesn't benefit the frame at all. So Transient Fortitude I use a lot on Mag because you get plus 55% power strength, which again gives me more damage with my shield polarized, and I don't use any ability on Mag that uses duration, so there's no downside to that really. But if you were to put Transient Fortitude on a frame that needed duration, you can always just make up with that with a continuity mod and then your narrow-minded mod or anything like that there. So for a quick recap of this episode, all you have to do is get a group of 4 players together, make sure you're all running different dragon keys, which is the key that you get by sacrificing a void key and then equipping it in your gear section. Make sure you're all running different keys, go into the Orc Derelict Exterminate, kill all of the enemies, find the vault, sacrifice one of the keys, which is the key that the vault requires, pick up the orb, get to the exit, and then you get your mod. Keep doing that until you get all of the mods that I mentioned in this video, and then you should be good to go. And then go to the next video and we'll talk about what we should do next. So anyway guys, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button below, and you want to see more Warframe content from me, please hit subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.